They left the safety of the road and tramped out into the wilderness, lugging the heavy wooden chest between them. How their limbs must have ached as they carried it some 2 miles across the uneven landscape, for the box, while only a metre in length, was well built, densely filled, and sealed with a large silver spring lock. To move it any distance required at least 2 people, or a small cart, for crate and contents together weighed half as much as a person. But the value of the goods inside far exceeded the cost of a human being. A slave imported from Gaul, brought across the British Sea, Oceanus Britannicus, today the English Channel, and converted into cash on the markets of London, Londinium, might in those days cost 600 denarii, assuming he or she were fit, young, and either hard-working or good-looking. This was no small price, around twice an ordinary soldier's annual wages. But if it was a lot, it was also nothing at all for an elite citizen of the Roman Empire in the 5th century AD. Inside the oak box that creaked as they hiked across the gently sloping countryside was a fortune sufficient to pay for a whole houseful of slaves. The precious load inside the oaken case included nearly 600 gold coins, known as solidi. These jangled against 15,000 silver siliquae, and a couple of handfuls of random bronze pieces. The coins were stamped variously with the faces of emperors from 3 dynasties, the most recent of them the ill-fated usurper Constantine III, reigned 407 or 9 to AD 411. Nestled among the coins were even greater treasures, an assortment of gorgeous gold necklaces, rings, and fashionable body chains designed to cling to the curves of a slender young woman's body. Bangles etched with geometric patterns and lifelike hunting scenes. Tableware, including silver spoons and pepper pots in the shape of wild beasts, ancient heroes, and empresses. Elegant toilet utensils, including silver earwax scrapers and toothpicks made to look like long-necked ibises. Bowls, beakers, and jugs, and a tiny elephant ivory pyxis, the sort of trinket that rich men like Aurelius Ursicinus, whose name was etched into many of the items, liked to buy for refined women like the Lady Juliane. A bespoke bracelet was personalized with a loving message spelled in tiny strips of beaten gold. Utere Felix, Domina Juliane. Use this happily, Lady Juliane. And 10 silver spoons advertised the family's devotion to the young but pervasive religion of the day. Each was stamped with the symbol known as the Chi-Rho, a monogram made up of the first 2 Greek letters in the word Christ. This would have been instantly familiar to fellow believers, Christians, who were part of a community of the faithful which stretched from Britain and Ireland, Hibernia, to North Africa and the Middle East. This hoard of coins, jewellery, and home furnishings was by no means the sum total of the family's valuables, for Aurelius and Juliane were members of the small, fabulously wealthy Christian elite of Britain, a villa set who lived in similar comfort and splendour to other elites right across Europe and the Mediterranean. But it was a significant nest egg all the same, and the family had taken some trouble in selecting what to include in it. That was only right, because this rich cash was effectively an insurance policy. The family had instructed that it be buried somewhere discreet for safekeeping, while they waited to see whether Britain's increasingly turbulent politics would tip over into governmental collapse, civil unrest, or something worse. Only time would tell what fate held for the province. In the meantime, the best place for an affluent clan's riches was underground. The bustle of the busy road, the route that joined the eastern town of Castor by Norwich, Venta Icenorum, with the London to Colchester, Camulodunum thoroughfare, had long receded into the distance, and the small group carrying the box found themselves alone and out of sight. They had walked far enough that the nearest town, Skål, was more than 2 miles away. Satisfied that they had found a good spot, they set the box down. They may have rested a while, perhaps even until nightfall. But soon enough, shovels hit the earth. The soil, a mixture of clay and sandy gravel, heaped up, and a shallow hole emerged. They did not need to dig far. There was no need to waste effort, for they would be only making work for themselves in the future. So when the hole was just a few feet deep, they carefully lowered the box into it and backfilled the soil. As they did so, the stout oak case containing Aurelius's spoons and silverware, Julian's delicately wrought jewellery, and many handfuls of coin disappeared, buried like grave goods, those prized possessions of the deceased, which had been laid to rest with their owners in half-remembered days of generations past. The diggers took note of the spot, then set off, relieved and unburdened, back towards the road. They would, they may have said to themselves, be back. When? It was hard to say, but surely, once the political storms battering Britain eased, and the barbarous invaders who attacked the eastern seaboard with wearying regularity were finally driven away, and the loyal soldiers returned from their wars in Gaul, Master Aurelius would send them back to dig up his valuable cargo. In AD 409 they did not know, and could not have begun to imagine, that Aurelius Ursicinus's treasure trove would in fact remain under the ground for nearly 1,600 years.